Hello and welcome to Wednesday Live with Evie number 29. Today's topic is what's your focus? Is it what's wrong, what's right, or what's not working? So I have a story around that to share with you. And before we get started, I do want to share this a couple of places, so bear with me. And as I do that, what I want to invite you to do is head over to my website. I have a freebie over there called How to Choose Priorities When Everything is Important, and it does exactly what it sounds like it does. It gives you a way to get all of those things knocking around in your brain that need to get done. It gives you a way to get those all out on a piece of paper and prioritize them, and a way for you to tell the difference between what are the things that are really important versus the things that you want to do but maybe might not be as important right now. So the other thing I want to share with you is I have a mastermind coming up that's going to meet weekly, and it's called the Productivity Mastermind, and it's a great place to be if you have big goals that you want to accomplish this year, whether you're on track or a little bit behind, and you know that you could reach those goals a lot easier, and it would feel like a lot less work, and you'd have more motivation to get those things done if you had a small, tight-knit community around you that got your business and supported you 100% on your journey to the success that you want. And that might be more clients, it might be more money, it might be more time to spend with the people that you love. Whatever it is that your goal or your intention is for the rest of the year, this is a place where you will be supported by the same group of women week after week, and you'll get to know each other and each other's businesses very well. So when you come and you have a question, you don't have to re-explain where you are or what you're doing or what you how you help people, because this is your community. These people get you, they know you, they care about you. So if that's something you're interested in, I would love to have a chat with you and see which group that is starting is a good fit for you. And if you're not sure, let's chat and let's just find out which one, or if this group is a good fit for you, or if one of my other offerings is a better fit, or maybe we're not a good fit at all, and that's okay too. So I didn't actually share the Facebook Live anywhere, just because I was so involved with sharing with you the information. There we go. All right. So, for those of you that are here, whether you're watching the recording or you're here live, I would love to know, what's your motivation for joining us today? What is it about this topic that interests you, and what is it that you're hoping to learn? And another question is, when something unexpected happens, where do you find yourself, what do you tend to notice? When something unexpected happens, what do you tend to notice? Where do you find your attention going? We're going to talk about that today. If you see me looking off to the side here, I have my notes over there, so that's what's going on. I'm actually going to move this just a little bit. There we go. So a little behind the scenes thing is I have this little ring light that kind of helps with the lighting, and I put a new battery in it, and it's very bright, so I'm getting a bit of shadow. When you look at a light and you kind of see it everywhere, I'm getting that when I look off to my notes, so bear with me a little bit. So today I want to share a story about back when I was an implementation specialist. So this was, let's see, I left that job in, I think that would have been 2010 or 2011. I don't exactly remember which one. And for a majority of my time with that company, I was an implementation specialist. And what that meant for me was that I was a project manager, I was the help desk for the clients that I worked with, and I was a computer programmer. I wasn't development, but I did customizations for the software for my clients and for some of the other people's in the company's clients, around a specific aspect. So when I was doing that job, I remember that I had read an article that talked about the problem with today's business culture. And it said the problem with today's business culture is that they focus too much on what's going wrong instead of what's going right. And I remember thinking, well, for my clients, a large part of my job, a large percentage of the time I spend each week is looking at what's not working and figuring out either how to fix it, what's going wrong, and what needs to be fixed, and can I fix it, or does it need to be escalated to development so that they can fix it? Is it a bigger problem? And in the meantime, is there some workaround that I can implement so that the client can continue on and not experience the problem or have a lesser degree of experience with this problem? So if I only focused on what was going right, that just wouldn't work. So a couple of things going on there. One, the article, when you think about it, is pretty ironic because it's saying what's wrong with the business today is that it's focusing on the negative instead of the positive, when that's what the article was doing. And then the second thing was, I'm not completely sure that's quite what the article meant, the way that I was interpreting it, but I still wasn't completely bought in with its concept. To a certain degree, yes, I absolutely do believe that, well, we'll get into the details here with the three things, focusing what's going wrong, what's going right, or what's not working. So the article was talking about what's going wrong. So let's see, let me go look at my notes here. Okay, so the article was talking about what's going wrong and versus what's going right. And sorry, I was moving my notes around. And I do agree. So a lot of this is semantics, right? Like, what do you mean when you say you're focusing on what's going wrong? So in corporate or in our lives, sometimes we focus on all of the things that aren't the way that we want them to be, and all of the things that are going wrong. And we don't always notice all of the things that are going right. And we don't always appreciate the things that we have that are working well, or think about how we can improve those things. And I think that's more what the article was focusing on, but I think that in that conversation, there's a piece that's left out that is super important, and that's the what's not going right, or what's not working. So you have what's going wrong, what's going right, and what's not working. And I think when you look at what's not working, that can be super helpful. So in my job as an implementation specialist, I was looking at what's not working a lot of times, right? What are the things that aren't working the way that the client wants them to, or the way that the software was supposed to work? And that's important because you want to know where those breakdowns are. You want to know what isn't going the way that it should be, or the way that it was anticipated that it was going to go. And so those are the things that aren't working. And that's different than what's going wrong. So an analogy that I use here is, let's say there's a roof in your leak. Okay, a roof in your leak. Let's say there's a leak in your roof. There we go. So what's not working? Well, there's something wrong with your roof, and you need to get somebody out here to fix it, right? If there's a leak in your roof, you need to get that fixed. What's wrong? Well, there's not really anything, there's something wrong with the roof, but when you're focusing on what's wrong, you're focusing about, oh, now I'm upset that there's a leak in my roof and there's a lot of drama around it and it's a big problem and it's a big hassle. And that's where you're focusing on what's wrong instead of focusing on what's not working. So when you get all worked up about, there's a leak in my roof, that's focusing on what's wrong. That's putting a lot of energy in the fact that there's a leak in your roof. And that's not helpful. When you can focus on what's not working, okay, there's a leak in my roof. What's not working? Okay, the roof needs to be fixed. What do I need to do about that? And so there's a subtle distinction there. If you have any questions about that distinction, let me know. But there's a subtle but an important distinction there. And the other thing I want to say here is sometimes we expect ourselves to, okay, I get that there's a distinction there and I want to focus on what's not working, and we think it's going to just be like that. And that's not how it works. We get upset about things. We have defaults, where we go when somebody cuts us off in traffic, when we have a leak in our roof. We have these defaults based on previous experiences. Maybe you got cut off and you got in an accident, and it wasn't your fault, and so now somebody cuts you off and it freaks you out because you don't want to get in another accident. Well, of course you're going to get freaked out about that. Of course you're going to worry about that because your previous experience says that somebody cuts you off and you might get in an accident, and that's concerning. However, we don't have to continue to react that way. But it's not something that changes just like that. It takes time. It takes noticing, oh, okay, this is a reaction that I'm having. And it's not about focusing on the feeling that you're having. It's about noticing, oh, I'm feeling stressed out right now. Oh, I'm feeling angry right now. Oh, I'm feeling sad right now. And it's not about changing that emotion. It's noticing, what's the thought pattern there? What am I thinking right now? What are the beliefs? And working on shifting those things. Because if you spend time trying to change your feelings about something, that's going to be really hard. But if you can start to think about, why am I feeling that way? Why am I triggered by that? And you can start pulling the pieces of that apart and looking at that and working with that, then that's going to change how you react. So, what does this have to do with productivity? What does focusing on what's not working and even what's right versus what's wrong, what does that have to do with productivity? Well, in your day-to-day life, when you're working with your business or when you're driving in your car, things are going to come up. So when something unexpected happens, how do you react? When a project takes longer than you anticipated, how do you react? Do you think about how frustrating it is and everything that's wrong with what's going on? Or do you look at what's not working? Okay, why is this taking longer? What can I do to shift this? This is something that I deal with when I'm having a problem and something's taking longer, is I'm so dialed in on one particular problem that I have to take a step back and say, okay, who can I ask to help me with that? Or what can I Google, rather than the blunt force approach, which is sometimes what I get caught up in. So, when you stop and say, okay, what's wrong, or not what's wrong, but what's not going right, or rather what's not working, that's the term I want to use, what's not working, and you can step back and say, okay, what's not working here? Then you can adjust, then you can shift, you can change expectations, you can decide, I'm going to look at it another way, you can decide, I'm just going to leave it for now, and I'm going to go and do something else. And don't forget to focus on what's going right too. Because a lot of times we do get so focused on, fixing the things that aren't working or focusing on what's wrong, that we lose sight of the fact that there's a lot of things that are working for us. So in your business, okay, yeah, this is taking longer, but at the same time, look at all the things that are going right. Look at the clients I have coming in. Look at the income that's coming in. Look at the appointments that are on my calendar that are coming up, the great conversations that I've had with people. There's a lot of things going right. So just to wrap things up here, when you're looking at what you're focusing on, notice if you're looking at what's wrong, what's right, or what's not working. So the what's wrong is, the getting freaked out, focusing on the emotion of something, focusing on, the drama of a situation, or getting upset that there's the leak in your roof, or getting upset that something took longer than you anticipated. Focusing on what's not working is kind of taking that step back and saying, okay, what's going on there? There's a leak in the roof. Okay, there's something wrong with the roof. What do I need to do to fix that situation, or to make the roof not leak? Okay, this project is taking longer than I thought it was going to. What do I need to adjust to still make this work with my schedule? Or is there another way I can approach this problem? Do I need to bring in outside help? And then when you're focusing on what's right, okay, there's a leak in my roof, but the roof still works. I still have a roof over my head. I have people that I can call to fix it, right? That's something that's going right. When a project is taking longer than anticipated, yeah, but I have this cool project, and won't it be great when it's finished? Look at the progress I've already made. What's going right in that situation. So just notice where your focus is. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I would love to chat with you about this and help you out with it in any way that I can. So I would also like to know, how do you see this applying to your business? Where do you see yourself getting caught up in what's wrong and not thinking about what's not working or what's not going right? How might you shift that a little bit? So if you're feeling brave, share that in the comments below. If you don't want to share that, that's fine too. You can private message me, or you can just keep it to yourself and, jot it down in a journal or your notebook, or however you note things for yourself. So just a quick recap of what I covered at the beginning of the class is there is the freebie over at the website, how to choose priorities when everything is important. There's also, and I didn't mention this earlier, also I have a Facebook group called Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs. If you are a woman and that sounds interesting to you, head over there and join us there if you're not already. And then last but certainly not least, I have a mastermind that's coming up that is specifically for women entrepreneurs who know that they're going to meet their goals faster and with more motivation and more oomph when they have a community behind them. I know I'm part of a mastermind, and because I'm part of a mastermind, not only do I enjoy the fact that I get, focus time, in front of the mastermind group and get that support, but I also know that I check in with them every week, that if I don't get something done, then they're going to ask about it, and they're very aware of what my goals are and what I want to do and why I want to do those things. So it's an extra push to meet my goals and get my things done. So if that's something that you want, reach out to me and let's talk about it and see if it's a good fit for you, or see if there is something else that's a good fit for you. So, and like I said earlier, if we're not a good fit, that's fine too. Let's find that out. So my name is Evie Burke. I help entrepreneurs take their productivity to a new level, and I will be back next week with a new topic. on Wednesday Live with Evie, and it will be number 30. So I will see you then. Much love.